Howdy friends, Bernardo Spaniel from Nardio.net, and today I want to tell you that you should not buy Space Marine the board game, you should buy Blitz Bowl instead. It's a much better game, a much better board game experience, more replay, a better value, and just all around better than this absolute garbage, trash, phoned in trash that is Space Marine the board game. I mean, the Titus figure is nice, but screw it, you don't need it. Space Marine the board game, an amazing experience. It only costs about $5 more. You don't have to go to Target. You can get this in Barnes & Noble, and I love it. Now, I'm going to tell you 10 reasons why you should get Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition over Space Marine the board game. The first is it's easy to learn. Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition has easy to follow rules. When you're learning, it's pretty clear cut, and it's going to take maybe like 2 or 3 games for you to get it. And then if you're still struggling, there's a whole bunch of tutorials online, and you can watch our channel, Nardio, where we have a bunch of playthroughs, either regular games, 20-minute games. You're going to figure it out really fast. Unlike the garbage that is Space Marine the board game, and I really don't get how this garbage was shipped. Now, unlike that trash, this is balanced right out of the box. Reason 2, balanced right out of the box. The humans and the Skavens are both great teams that you're going to enjoy playing long after investing in other teams if you so choose. If you just don't want to buy any other teams, you want to just play what's in the box, this is great. I mean, it has 2 sides of the game board. Both teams excel on both sides. It has a whole bunch of replay trying to learn how to master the team, trying to figure out who to lead with, who to force down the field. I mean, this is the best version of this game. It's called Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition for a reason. The humans and the Skaven are perfectly paired. Now, let's go to the next one. Tons of replay in the core game. Like I said before, this has a game board with 2 sides. One side of the game board has a bunch of barriers. The other side is pretty open, so you can have fun games where you just run the ball. You have fun games where you have to go slow and force into the end zone. It's a lot of replay right in the box. And then we're going to touch on this again, but there are expansion teams in this that you could easily proxy with the base units. So you don't need to buy the expansion. You can just kind of play around with them here. And if you watch our Blitz Bowl review, I give you tips on how to proxy the game without spending much money at all. But yeah, as the core box goes, just this is a staple of game nights with the base teams. And I think you'll get a lot of replay out of it. Now, speaking of the replay that you get out of this, it comes with 17 expansion team cards. So there are 19 teams in total you can play in Blitz Bowl. And they're not all balanced, but they're pretty fun. And there's, like I said in my review for Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition, you're going to enjoy taking some of the weaker teams against some of the stronger teams, or playing strong team versus strong team and having some epic high-score game nights. And I just did not think the game could get better than having 17 expansion teams. Before this, I played Fire Team, and that had, I believe, 4 expansion teams, and I was still like, wow, 4 expansion teams? Look at all that replay. And then here I am with like 17, and I kind of own most of them. And worth it, super worth it. I mean, with 17 teams, you can play 17 mirror matches. And mirror match, in my opinion, is the best way to play these sorts of games. But you could also try doing human versus wood elf. You could start doing orc versus black orc. There's so it just makes the official teams alone just makes the replay of the Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition game go near infinite. I mean, I'm just shocked at how much thought was put into this and how much fun you can have with a $45 game, as opposed to this $40 trash with 2 game modes. No. But if you thought the 17 expansion teams were awesome, the 5th reason you should get it is because they're community expansion teams. That's nuts. When I started doing Blitz Bowl playthroughs, I had a subscriber send me a list of community teams, and then he sent me some of the community teams to play, and my mind was blown, opened, all the possibilities opened up before me. So far, I found about 22 unique community teams. That's insane. So 19 official teams, 22 community teams, and more are on the way because people are still talking about what teams they're working on. Personally, I'm working on a Tyranid team with Gene Stealers and maybe some little fodder dudes, along with Adeptus Sororitas team. And I'm still working on the rules for these, and I would love to kind of finalize them and get them on the board as soon as possible, but first I gotta get the minis. But the community teams obviously bring replay into it because you have all these different kinds of factions brought in. Right here I have Ultramarines. I am super proud of these guys. I have a Tech Marine as my thrower. I have a Legion Praetor in a Terminator outfit as my Blitzer guy, and a bunch of Assault Intercessors as my linemen, and we have a converted Chaos dude now as my Space Marine Scout as my runner, and I love them so much. That awesome subscriber sent me these amazing miniatures, so I have a Chaos Dwarf team. I love them. We play them so much. We have a Minotaur for some back alley Renegade team. I just got the Slan team, and oh my God, if you can see this guy on camera, these are amazing. I love these little froggy men so much, and I had a blast painting them. And that's the crazy thing. Like, if you're into this for the hobby painting side of things, like, that's just 22 more teams to have to paint up. And then if you get enough where you can like paint like 2 teams, sometimes 3 teams out of it, there's so much painting ahead of you. So I've already finished my first green Slan team. Now I'm working on a second team of like purple Slan with tattoos all over them. And then I don't even know what I'm gonna do with the third team. Maybe I'll do a giveaway. Maybe I'll just, I don't know. I just love having that in my back pocket as another weekend painting project. And so far, there are other awesome community teams. They have some Aztec mummy dudes. They have the Amazon teams. They brought in some of the Blood Bowl teams that aren't supported in Blitz Bowl as community teams. I already have a team of Norse Vikings. I'm looking into getting a team of Amazons. I mean, it's just so much fun getting these guys, painting these guys and playing these guys and adding them to my collection that I have no space in my apartment for. So, so let's go to the 6th reason you should get Blitz Bowl, community mods. So I've already spoken about all the replay with the base game, all the replay with the expansion teams, all the replay with the community teams. Well, there's now community mods. Just like their Blood Bowl expansions, the Blitz Bowl community has created modifications of Dungeon Bowl, which is an expansion for Blood Bowl, and I forgot how it's called, but it's like a back alley game of Dungeon Bowl. And they made a mod of that too for Blitz Bowl. And I was looking in the Blitz Bowl community Facebook page at the rules, at the gameplay, and some talented members of the community were sharing pictures of it all. And I am overwhelmed at this point. I'm trying to like make sure I have time to play games for the battle reports on the channel, and to make time to paint these guys up, and to try like mirror matches and get the community teams out there. And now there's community mods, and they look great, but I'm not ready for that. But I'm excited for it. So once I get all the community teams and painted up, and like the mirror teams that I have painted up, maybe then I will even dip my toe into the expansions. But I don't even need to, because with just all this, I'm already happy. I'm already super happy. But it's there when I want to do it. When I want to do it, I'm going to have a bunch of weekends full of fun. Now, sorry, it's really hot in here, but let's go into the 3D printing community. That is Etsy and Amazon. So a bunch of wonderful artists have started making variants of the established official Blitz Bowl teams and Blood Bowl teams, and the community teams. So if you don't like the way some of the official teams look, you could find several variants of them online from a whole bunch of talented artists. Some of these are included in Patreon, some of these are included from like eBay or Amazon sellers, some of these are just places you can get from Etsy. But I've gotten a few, and I love them. I love them so much. Like, they're variants on humans, they're variants on elves. I don't like how the goblins look in game, for example, or some of the dwarves, but they're cooler versions of them if you want. And there's creepier versions, there's sexier versions, there's goofier versions. Almost anything that you want to find to make a team, you can. And that's crazy for me to think about, because I have a set of official, let's say, the Skaven that come with the base game. One of my subscribers sent me something from some artist online, Techno Skaven, and they look so much cooler but different. So whereas the traditional Skaven looked like Age of Sigmar Skaven, the Techno Skaven have like a steampunk aesthetic and a whole bunch of robotic prostheses, like arms and legs, and like just cool shenanigans on them that I just love so much. Like, I can just stare at these models, and they were a joy to paint. And again, going back to the like painting aspect of these community teams are just going to keep you busy if you just want to paint them and not even have the time to play. but there's something special about just playing with a mini that you painted, that you spent so much time on. Like, I'm okay with the Nurgle team, but they're not like one of my favorite teams to play. But I've seen so many variations of cool Nurgle teams. I have like a Swamp Thing Nurgle team where they all like slick, swampy and like tree-ish, but still disease and disgusting. I just came across a very creepy clown Nurgle team where there are a bunch of clowns with stomachs, like with mouths and fangs in their stomachs, and just creepy looking stuff. And then there's the orcs. The orc team's okay, but oh my God, has the community art team gone crazy with awesome orc variants that I kind of want to make community teams for because they just look so cool. Again, the orcs aren't one of my favorite teams, but there's so many cool ones out there. I'm just like, I kind of want them all. I came across a savage orc team that I'm in love with, that I'm looking forward to getting. They're pirate orcs, ninja orcs, zombie orcs, army orcs, I'm clown orcs. There's so many different versions of orcs that look cool, and it makes me love them more. I already made a second team of orcs with bits that I've mixed up from some 40K orcs, and then some stuff that I found on eBay. And I was able to make a very unique looking second orc team to go along with my traditional orc team. And it's great. It's so great. And I look forward to getting cooler versions of the dwarves, cooler version of the goblins, and the gnomes. I would love to just get all the variants and paint them up because I enjoy, and like I said, I enjoy the process of painting, and I really enjoy being able to play with what I painted already. Now, let's go into the previous game boards. So this is the third version of Blitz Bowl. There are two previous versions out there that have very different game boards that I recommend you get. Just for the game board alone, if you could find the game board for sale for 20 bucks, get it. If you get the entire first edition or second edition for 20 bucks, get it. Why? Well, again, different game boards bring more replay into it. And I ended up getting all three versions of the game, and we played on all three boards and loved it so far. And second edition comes with a unique thing that did not make it to third edition, which is like magic balls. These so the balls you play with in game, you can either have the basic ball or you can bring some magic ones in that have debuffs or power-ups or just shenanigans in it. Sometimes you pick up a ball, you have to roll an armor check because it's spiked, so you might get hurt. And that might make things a little more interesting. If you're playing multi-ball and you have the spike ball out there, do you want to risk picking it up or do you want to go for the normal ball? Who knows? It's even more craziness to add to the game, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Now, you're hearing me say the word community a lot because Blitz Bowl has created a really great community out there. At Gen Con recently, they had a community tournament for Blitz Bowl. It's like a 4-hour tournament. You play a bunch of games, you meet a bunch of people from around the world. There's local game clubs around the country playing Blitz Bowl. I would love to start one up in Manhattan because I want more people to play with, and the idea of just getting some bunch of folks, some new players in and getting them into the game, or just making friends who are already good at the game, maybe help me get better. I don't know, it's exciting. And I love that you can just take the game, you can take your team out and play against a bunch of people, or you can just like introduce it to a bunch of people. So that's awesome. You can't really do that with Space Marine the board game because it's trash. It's kind of embarrassing to take and show other people because, hey, here's this bad game. But Titus looks nice. And finally, the 10th reason why you should get this game goes back to the first reason. When you're playing wrong, it's fun. When Jazz and I were going through the slog of learning how to play this trash, it just wasn't fun. The tutorials were just vapid and boring, and the gameplay modes and trying to get the gameplay modes, it just wasn't fun. And meanwhile, Blitz Bowl, when we're learning how to play, we had fun along the way. I mean, sure, we may have gotten a bit wrong, but even when we did things wrong, we had a hoot with it. And sometimes we play wrong now just to have more fun with it because we can. And there's something about a game that you can introduce to someone else, and even when they're still learning, you can see them having fun. And Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition is a game like that. I've seen people in my comment section talking about how they introduce it to their kids, their family, their friends, and that's beautiful. And I've gotten messages like that too. Like, I love playing this with like my cousins or someone I want to get them into the universe. I bring out Blitz Bowl, and I think this is an amazing game that just manages to be a perfect intro game but a perfect come back and play and try to master and never get bored of game either. So you should get this game. You should get Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition as opposed to Space Marine the board game, because this is an amazing game and Space Marine the board game's trash. Anywho, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all good. Have a great night. Bye.